Ruth Stoops.
I love her so much.
You do, huh? Yeah. That was an interesting movie because it's about abortion, but it's not. It's not anti. It's got all points of view from every which way here. That was put into the form of a comedy here. That was pretty much unlike anything I'd seen at the time. Certainly in a comedy. What attracted you to playing this character?
First of all, the script, written by Alexander Payne and Jim Taylor, was incredible. Radical, brave, such a flawless satire about the divisiveness. I don't know if you guys have heard about something like this, where there's two factions and it really separates the country. But
no, I haven't heard about that.
oh yeah, it can be real. But they wrote it so perfectly, and as we would say about Alexander, he's such an equal opportunity offender. You know, I mean, he really attacks both sides equally and speaks with great comedy, and it's hysterical to the heart of the matter, which is it's not about the person, it's not about the people, it's about winning and political battle and constituents, and it's just it's a very fierce, subversive political film, and because my parents made me an individual who should make very smart career choices. When I think back of that little girl who came from Wild Angels or Scorsese, it's like, of course, that's how I was raised. Because I remember agents going, "You're the girl in Jurassic Park. It's the most successful film of all time. There's this script, there's this script, there's this script. What do you want to do next?" I'm like, "An abortion comedy, and I want Ellen DeGeneres to come out to me." And those were the best choices of my life. Yeah. But you wouldn't have known it at the time. But now I know.
I heard Ellen actually saw Citizen Ruth and wanted you in. Of course, that's the famous, what she's referring to in the situation comedy, Ellen, the puppy episode, where she famously comes out with one of the greatest scenes I've ever seen in a television comedy, where she leans over to confess to you, "I'm gay," but she goes into the microphone in the airport so everybody hears it. It's right up there with Lucy stomping grapes and Mary Tyler Moore at Chuckles the Clown's funeral. It really is a classic. You were nominated for an Emmy. It won Emmys, the whole thing. And you did that show, and because she saw Citizen Ruth, is that right?
It's true. That's why I sort of pair them together in my mind, and I think it spoke to a moment, the moment we're talking about, which is, what does it mean to be a storyteller? We have this radically beautiful opportunity to talk about what matters, and so I think Citizen Ruth gave birth to that longing in me, why I fell in love with movies, and then had that opportunity, and then how beautiful that it would then breed this relationship with Ellen, in getting to be there and support her in that way and be part of something, profoundly historic, thanks to her bravery.
But it's sort of amazing. I heard that with LGBTQ and all of that, that you didn't work for a year, that you actually got threats, that it caused all sorts of problems in your career, and it sort of stalled it. I was just reading, literally today, Harry Hamlin was talking about, in 1982, he did a picture called Making Love. He was just talking about this, and he said it's the last studio picture he's made still to this date. He said it ruined his film career because he did that. He said it was about 10 years too early to play a gay man in a mainstream movie. You did this here, and it stalled your career a little bit, or how did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny to even imagine this now, but to have talked about it, because the anniversary was recently, and on Ellen's show we talked about it with my friend Oprah, and
was also in it.
Yeah, and it was really hard for her too. So, but we did talk about how we all had, a really life-changing experience being part of that episode, in terms of the backlash and how radically different we hope the world looked then. So, in some ways, but there's still a lot of work to do. So thank God for Ellen.
Absolutely. I have a couple more clips coming up, but one of them is your second Academy Award nomination and another great performance in Wild with Reese Witherspoon, in which you play her mother, which is odd because as Renata, you're playing opposite her as a friend, but it's it's all convoluted here. But that was a great performance and obviously true, based on Cheryl Strayed's book, and you're playing her mother, Bobby. And that must have been emotionally wrenching, I would imagine, to play that role.
It was amazing. You know, Cheryl Strayed's book, for those who have not read Wild, it's a great gift to all of us. And, you know, she went through her deepest relationship and love story of her life, in her words, was with her mother, who was a single mother who had dealt with a lot of abuse and was raising she and her brother. And she had her as a teen and raised her as such a young mother, and then decided to go back and finally get a degree from college at the same time that her daughter started college. So Reese and I were telling that story with a lot of sort of flashback and flash forward of ages, and her mother passed at, I believe, 46 years old. So, and then she went on this incredible journey hike on the PCT by herself to try to heal from this loss. And it was an amazing gift to be part of, knowing Cheryl, to discover Cheryl, to find the friendship, one of the great friendships of my life with Cheryl, as well as Reese Witherspoon, and our director, Jean-Marc Vallée, who would direct this, and then all of us would literally finish Wild, and then decide to go and then all make Big Little Lies together. So it was a beginning of an amazing creative family.
Wow. And did Cheryl Strayed's daughter have a role in that film? She played?
Yes, Bobby, named after her grandmother, Bobby, played Cheryl as a young girl. So, you know, Reese as an 8-year-old. And the most unbelievable moment was, there's a scene where the first time that Bobby sees me and runs into my arms, and we're holding each other, and I'm taking care of her, and Cheryl just started weeping at the monitor with Jean-Marc. And he was like, "Are you okay? What's happening?" And she said, "This is my daughter meeting her grandmother for the first time."
Wow.
And that was just, you know, it was an amazing thing to be part of, the idea of sort of bringing her mother back to life in a way, and sharing that with her actual daughter, who now is very good friends with my daughter. And it's a very story. Amazing thing to be part of. And Nick Hornby's gorgeous words.
Who I just read today in the trades that you're working with again, Nick Hornby, doing what do you call it, Quilby?
Quibi, yeah. We're developing a series of vignettes in and around a bar.
Oh.
Which I'm very excited about, because I love bars. No, I fell in love with a particular bartender who I've been very curious about for a number of years. She stayed in my mind, so Nick's going to bring her to life in some way.
So nice. Let's take a look at a scene from Wild and another movie. I said, got to put it in here because I just love this movie. I don't care if nobody saw it in a theater. This audience is going to go home and watch it wherever they find it, called 99 Homes.
Oh, wow.
And so let's take a look at Wild and then 99 Homes.
Great.